Okay, we are live. Welcome to week 13 of the mini paint challenge. Today I have taken a really awesome reference photo from this past weekend. It was my son's birthday and we made brownies. And so we have this really cool little brownie. I'll show you after. But if you're new here, here is how to join the paint challenge. So I go live every Wednesday and I walk you through like painting and all the steps for how I do my little mini oil paintings. You're also welcome to use any other type of medium. We've had some people using like acrylics and watercolors, pencils, markers, pretty much anything you can do. You don't have to like follow my painting thing, but I would love to see all of your different creations if you do end up using the reference photos. So make sure you tag me at Meg and Josol Art and use the hashtag mini paint challenge so then I can show your art some love. And so I will show you the reference photo now. So we've got this really awesome reference photo. I decided to take it into Photoshop and like add a cool like sky type background. I wanted it to look like it was maybe like reflecting the sky or something onto a table. And I just thought the blue would be a really nice contrast. I feel like I've been doing a lot of blue backgrounds lately and it's just been fun. We actually did this one last week, this little donut last week, and that was super fun. So we're gonna do another blue background today. We'll probably use similar colors. I do have colors already laid out here. Some of them are from last week. I didn't use all of the ones that I put out, so I'll go over the colors and then we can start mixing. I think I want to add maybe another color, but we've got to start we have titanium white, we have got quinacridone magenta, we've got alizarin crimson, cadmium red light, cadmium yellow light, and then we've got sap green, cerulean blue hue. I use the cerulean blue hue one. And then ultramarine blue. And then I was also thinking maybe we should put some burnt sienna on there because I think it would be a really pretty color for the brownie. And I just love the reddish tint that this one has. It's got a really nice color. Use burnt sienna. Got a good amount of that on there. You almost don't need to even mix it with anything to get that top color because burnt sienna is so close to the color we need already, which is nice. And then, so I've also got, what else might we need? I'm just gonna look at the reference photos. So we've got lots of fun colors, I think, in the sprinkles. I wanted to use little star sprinkles. Yeah, my husband is going to add all of the colors to the description, so you can just look down there and you'll see them all, especially if you're watching it back. Then you don't have to remember all of the things I just listed out. Okay, let's see. Trying to decide what else I might want to use color-wise. I feel like we have pretty much everything we need. I feel like for the purple stars, it might be nice to use like manganese violet. I don't use it very often, but I feel like it would look pretty with the purple stars. Let's add a little manganese violet on there. Manganese. And yeah, I think we'll start with that. Let's start mixing the colors in the background first. So we'll start with the blues. I'm thinking we'll do a mix of, let's just see how we like the cerulean blue and just titanium white. I was gonna add maybe some ultramarine blue in there, but I'll see how I like this. I feel like this will be really nice. Just that. Let's see. So what you'll see me doing is comparing the color up to the reference photo. So I'm just coming over here, seeing if I like the way that it's looking. I think I like that. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this, kind of just put it to the side for now. I'm gonna add a bit more cerulean blue in there, just to have a slightly deeper blue as well, because there's lots of different kind of shades of this color. Let's see. I'm gonna go too dark with it. I feel like that's getting closer to the shadow color. I'm almost kind of thinking like adding a little bit of yellow in there to kind of make it a little greenish might be kind of nice. Not too much. I definitely want it still more on the blue side. But I feel like having a little bit of yellow in there would be nice. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty nice. I'm gonna edit this color a bit. Add that yellow in there as well. Maybe just mix these together just so we have a more cohesive color. I think adding the yellow is going to be really nice to it. Like a greenish yellow or a bluish green. Let's see. It's getting closer to the color that we want. I'm gonna use my palette knife and put a little bit to the side in 2 different piles. I think what I'm gonna do with this one is I'm gonna make it a little bit darker. Take a bit more off of that. I'm gonna make this darker with ultramarine blue. And this is going to be like our shadow color that we're making. Just going to turn it into a slightly different blue, just to have some variety in the blues that we're using. That's getting close. I would say we need a little bit more ultramarine blue in there. See if that's closer. It's getting a little closer. Just adding a little bit amounts of that until we get the color that we want. I want it more on the purpley end too, so I might actually add a little bit of alizarin crimson in there. Purple shadows are really pretty, so. And that's like pretty saturated, so we could tone down the saturation too, especially since it's in a shadow area. Colors tend to be less saturated when they're in the shadow. And so in order to desaturate this purpley color that we made, you're gonna take the opposite of the color wheel. So you're gonna look at maybe putting a little bit of yellow or orangish in there. I'm just going to use cadmium red light and a little bit of yellow. And that'll desaturate the color a bit. I think enough to give us that nice shadow color. Let me compare that now. Yeah, I think that's more of what we want. So I'm gonna put that on the side because I'm happy with that color. I'm also really happy with how this color turned out. That's gonna be kind of like the transition color. And then we're also gonna, just gonna scrape this off a little bit. And then I think we are going to mix a slightly lighter color as well. I'd actually keep a bit more of that. Slightly lighter color. Just gonna add titanium white to that. Let's see. Well, that's looking pretty nice. Maybe we'll make another transition color too, because we've got almost kind of like a white going on. It's like a bluish white. They're almost like clouds that I created. Yeah, that's closer to what we want for the cloud color. So that's like a really nice little color palette we have there. I like that. And since we're already on the blue, I'm wondering, we might just reuse the blue in the background for the stars that we're gonna create, because I feel like that color will look nice. Got a little extra of this color that we made, so I'm gonna put that here. Now the next color we can mix on top of here, I'm thinking we'll do the green stars next, just because blue and green together. I'm going to use a bit of yellow, a bit of cerulean blue to make a nice bright green, because it's a pretty bright green. Take a little bit of this white that's on the palette too. More of that. I feel like yellow and cerulean blue make this like really bright, pretty green. Don't use this very often either. Yeah, that's like the perfect color for that. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna put it to the side here, and we'll kind of do like little piles for each of the stars. I'm gonna actually make this color darker for like the shadow parts with sap green. And I'll use sap green kind of as the shadow area in those green stars. The stars are going to be really tiny because we're doing it on a smaller piece of paper anyway, so we aren't going to have to add too much detail and stuff to them, so we can kind of keep that pretty simple there. Don't need too much paint for that. Okay, I'm going to make a bit more of that green, except this time we're going to add a bit of white to it for the highlight areas in those green stars. We're going to do that with all the stars. We're going to make like 3 separate colors for the stars. I realize how many colors we're going to be making for this one. All those colorful stars. It'll be worth it though. You don't need to mix lots of paint if you're doing it small. I feel like over time you get used to how much paint you're gonna use on like the smaller ones. So I've gotten better at it over time and I waste less paint now. I'm gonna clean this off because I'm gonna do the yellow stars I think next. And I don't want them to get muddy. It's good to clean off your palette in between colors if you want really bright colors. It's really easy to make these colors really muddy. I might actually use just the standard color there. We'll make the darker color first for the stars. So I want kind of the shadow area to be a little bit orangish almost. I'm gonna make kind of like a desaturated orange. So I'm actually gonna add a bit of green into that. Give us like a desaturated orange and we'll use that for the yellow stars. I think that'll be good. It's like almost like a brown color. Yeah, I think that'll be good. I'm gonna maybe put the yellow underneath the green there. Okay, I guess I want that. Just clean off the palette again in between that color since we want more of the saturation again. And I'm gonna use pretty much just this yellow, I think, as like the brightest part. I don't think we really need to mix that. I like how it looks. So I will use that. And then we'll also make a white and yellow one. So just a one for the highlight areas of the star as well. Okay, let's see how that goes. Let me just turn off my sound on my phone so it doesn't like go off a bunch in the middle of the stream. Okay, that yellow is looking really nice. Let's see, yeah, that'll be a nice yellow transition there. Okay. And then I'm thinking, so we've got the blue, the green, the yellow. We'll do the orange one next. So I'm going to use cadmium yellow, a little bit of the cadmium red. We'll use that to make orange. Hey, Deborah. We are just mixing all of the little star colors right now. Slowly working on all the stars. Let's see. Okay. Trying to mix, oh, I like that for like the darker part of the star. Got like the deeper orange part. Those little stars. I want to make a nice bright orange as well, so I'm going to add more cadmium yellow into that just to get a nice bright color there. How are you doing today? I feel like I'm a little sleepy today. Been a little sleepy these last couple weeks. Big changes over here with my husband's new job, so just trying to keep things together through the job transition. Oh yeah, Indian yellow is really nice. I actually don't have any Indian yellow right now. Indian yellow is quite nice. I have cadmium yellow light right now. I actually need to go to the art store and get some more. My colors are getting a little low. Like, see, my cadmium yellow is getting a little low. We hardly have any of that left. So I might have to pick up some more Indian yellow as well. I feel like I go through yellow paint really quickly. It's one of those colors that you just use in a lot of different colors. Okay, let's see how that one looks. I think that'll give us a nice bright orange. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. I like that. And then we'll make a lighter, kind of more yellowy tone as well. A more yellowy orange. And that'll be the lightest area in the orange stars. Red rose makes some very nice bright colors too. Yeah, I actually have never used like the red, like quinacridone rose I think is one that a lot of artists use. And I use quinacridone magenta, but I've heard quinacridone rose is really nice to use. So I need to get myself some of those colors too. I try to keep a limited palette, but there's so many colors that I want to play with, and it's nice to have kind of like those solid colors to play with. Okay, yeah, that's a nice yellow for the orange. So we've got blue stars, green stars, orange stars, yellow stars. What else we're missing? So we've got, oh, we got a purple star too. Gotta make those purple stars as well. I put manganese violet out, and I don't use it very often, so I thought it would be fun to make the purple stars with the manganese violet. And we will use kind of that darker color as the deepest part of the star. And then we'll start adding some white into there. I just think it makes a really nice purple, so it'll be such a pretty one for the stars. I replaced my cadmium yellow medium and alizarin crimson. Yeah, I've heard people replacing those with that. I'm kind of like, I'm back and forth because like I really love the pink that alizarin crimson makes, and I really love making like the darker kind of colors with ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson, but they're not like super saturated, so it's nice to have like kind of like brighter reds to mix with, so then you can get those like really nice bright saturated colors. So I don't think I'll ever get rid of alizarin crimson and like ultramarine blue, that's for sure. They're just so pretty, and ultramarine blue makes like the prettiest sky color too. It makes such a pretty sky color for like plein air painting. Okay. Kind of like that purple, and then we'll also do a really light purple as well. But I definitely need to try out some different combinations at some point. Kind of tend to stick to a similar color palette. This is normally the color palette I use all the time. Yeah, ultramarine is really nice. I think it's like a staple on most artist palettes. I feel like ultramarine is just so pretty. It's very diverse. I feel like a lot of, if you know a lot about art history, ultramarine blue has been around for a really long time. It's a color a lot of artists used. What else are we going to do? We're going to also make, I guess, some white stars. There's a few white stars. Can make a few white stars. A split primary palette. Okay. I don't know what I would consider mine. Mine's like a very, it's my own primary color palette. it's kind of like a mix between like, using like the CMYK palette because I like the magentas and the cyans. But then I also really love, like I said, the alizarin crimsons and like the ultramarine blue, which is like traditional. So I'm like a little bit, mine's maybe a mix of a bunch of different palettes. Okay, look at that orange over there. And white. I need to get some more titanium white because we're running low. My titanium white is running low too. It's getting harder to like squeeze out. There we go. I feel like lately I've had so many things I've wanted to paint lately, and I just like haven't had the energy to like paint. Like my physical energy is just like burned out from trying to keep everything together in the house for my husband's job transition. We both are just like trying to like clean every night to like keep everything in order, and it's gets chaotic when you just have so many other things that you need to do. I'm gonna use this. I think I'm gonna make it more of like a on the blue side. I'm gonna add a little bit of cerulean blue to the white. And the white stars are going to be more of like a bluish tint, kind of like reflecting off the blue background. Yeah. And I'm going to kind of maybe just put that right here and add some of the whites on this side. To fill up that area. Very subtle, the blue in that. And I think that'll be good for like the white ones. I will want to make, I think, like a darker color for the shadows on the white stars. I'm going to use a mix between ultramarine blue, a little bit of alizarin crimson to make that like purple that I like making. And I'm going to put a little bit of yellow and green in it just to kind of desaturate it a bit. I added a little too much green there. I'm going to put that at the side, remix that. Actually, I want to start on, I said I was going to use this color here, which is a burnt sienna. And I thought burnt sienna would be a good place to start for the brownie color. And I think it will look really nice because it's kind of got those deeper tones in it. I'm gonna maybe start by putting the burnt sienna here, and we'll make some darker ones and then some lighter ones as well. So first we'll maybe lighten this up with a bit of cadmium yellow. You will get a bit more cadmium yellow. Drop in the lids. Okay. And I think if we mix these two colors together, add a little bit of yellow in there, some of those oranges will come out, be really pretty. Such a pretty earthy tone, like I like burnt sienna. My favorite place to use burnt sienna is on the pit of an avocado when I'm painting them. Yeah, and that gives us a nice lighter tone, and then we'll also add a bit more cadmium yellow. And we're just mixing the different tones in the brownie. I guess I haven't used my arrow yet. I can mix those like lighter tones in there. Might have added a little too much yellow into that. Definitely added a little too much yellow into that. I think we could add a bit more of that in there. Just adding a little bit more burnt sienna to tone down that yellow that I added. I went a little too crazy with the yellow there. Okay, that's exactly what we want. That is a lot better. So we're going to take that and keep that color. Got a cat hair in there. Always finding cat hairs in my paint. Wipe off my hand. I got some paint on it. I try to keep the paint off my hands if I can. And then I'm going to add a little bit of titanium white to it for some of those lighter areas, because we don't want to add any more yellow to it to lighten it anymore, because it got very yellow. So we're just going to lighten it with a little titanium white. When I'm lightening colors, I try to add other colors before I add titanium white, especially if I want to keep the saturation, because titanium white tends to kind of, how do I describe it? It washes the color out a little bit. Okay, I like that one. And then there's a really bright kind of area. We're definitely going to mix up. I would say we'll even use this kind of like bluish white that we mixed up for the highlighted areas. You can kind of see in like this area here, there's a lot of like little highlights there, and they are more on the bluish end for those highlights. And those would be like very last highlights that we add. I want to make a slightly brighter brown. We'll do like one more kind of color down there, and then we'll start working on the darker tones there. Yeah, makes it chalky. That's a good way to describe it. Yeah, white makes it pretty chalky, and I feel like it makes it like really thick too, and then you end up having to add like medium to it, like oil, because it makes it really hard to spread if you add too much titanium white. So, okay, let's see if that's kind of the color that we want. Might have went a little bit light there, honestly. I don't think we need it that light. Just gonna add a bit more of that there. Zinc white, yeah, what did I get? I got the flake white replacement. I haven't played around with zinc white much, actually. I thought I bought some. I might not have any more of that zinc white. But yeah, I've heard that zinc white's pretty good with that. And flake white. I haven't played around with the flake white, and I got the replacement one because I've heard that the regular flake white really isn't good for you. It's not the one with lead in it. It's more transparent. Oh, that would be nice, having a more transparent white. Yeah, I think I've played around with that white before with my friend's palette. I have a few friends that are local that are painters, and we went out and painted before, and we kind of share each other's like art supplies when we're like painting together. And I think I've used some of her zinc white before. Maybe I'll have to go get some at the art store and try it out too, because that would be nice to have a more transparent white, so it's not like so opaque. Okay, I think that's yeah, flake white. I buy like I have flake white replacement. I don't even think some companies like will, it might be hard to see there, but yeah, I buy the Gamblin one. It's the replacement one. And yeah, I would say probably some countries don't even allow them because I think they're the ones that have normally lead in them. Which makes sense because that's why they stopped using them in pencils many years ago. Lead is not good for you. Okay, I'm gonna grab more burnt sienna. We're gonna make this darker now. So what I'm gonna do is to make that darker, I'm gonna add some ultramarine blue to it, and this should give us kind of like a purplish color for the really dark areas. Really deep brown. Which is kind of what we're going for. Oh yeah, that's nice and dark for that. I was kind of thinking like maybe in the dark areas, like instead of having like this color, what I might do is I'll keep this color, but I'm also just gonna make my regular kind of purpley brown. It's not like we're licking our fingers. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I try not to like eat around my paints, and I make sure I like wipe things off my hands as soon as I get like any paint on my hands. But I'm also trying to use colors that aren't super bad. I think the only colors that I have that are like really bad for your like health is kind of like the cadmium ones, but it's more bad if you like you said, consume it, or if you're mixing like cadmium like pigment and like you're inhaling like the actual like powder. But if it's already pre-mixed paint that's cadmium, then it sounds like it's not as bad. But I don't know, everything in life is kind of anything in life can kill you, right? They say sugar will kill you too, so too much of anything I guess is bad. And then, okay, we've also got the poison paint. Yeah. Some of the pigments are so expensive. Like this cerulean blue is ridiculous. That one's like 50 or 60 bucks a tube. A lot of the cadmium ones are really expensive too. That is why I like painting on smaller smaller canvases. And the paint goes further that way. Like some of these tubes I've had for almost 2 years now, and I paint every single week. So pretty good. Like I've had this ultramarine blue for 2 years now, and like I don't need that much paint because I'm like using these smaller canvases, and I like paint a lot. I mean, you can see all the like little paintings back there, and I've got some in my front hall and all here. They last a while. Should I cover my ears? What do you mean, hun? Cover your ears for how much the paint costs? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, the paints are expensive. It's okay, I make them last. I make them last. I'm gonna use some ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson to make a darker purple. Yeah, the paints can get really pricey. Honestly, Gamblin isn't even like the most expensive. I do use professional paints, so I keep that in mind. I have tried the cheaper paints, and the pigment quality or the pigment load isn't very good in them. So it is definitely worth it to just like buy the good quality paints because they do last a while. And there's definitely some art stores, like I know in Victoria here where I live, they actually have like art stores that are like you can bring like your paint supplies that you don't use anymore, and then they'll like sell them back to the community, and it's like kind of like a donation place. And so it's like used art supplies. So you probably could score some decent paints at like a store like that, because oil paints last a long time. Love my Lucas. Oh, I've never heard of that paint before. Go through this big studio tubes. Yeah. Yeah, the only one I actually buy in like the bigger is like the titanium white, because I just don't go through paint like fast enough, and I'm like, I can just buy like smaller ones. But I still go through the titanium white. I have another one here. I just bought like another one as well because I'm like, I need to maybe hold on to an extra titanium white. The rest I just buy the tiny tubes. Yeah. Yeah, they have a new location. We can try it out. Yeah, I heard that store downtown, there was like kind of like an art store that opened downtown. Like I said, like a donation type art store, and I'm like, we definitely should try it out. Because maybe they'll have some of the art supplies that I like. And I've also been thinking about getting like a second easel, because I'd like to have like kind of like a few easels in here, because I have friends that come over, and I'd like to start hosting like art parties again for like my local friends and have people over, but I need like more space for people to paint. And I have like a little, travel easel, but it'd be nice to have a few like full-size easels. Oh, Kit Kat, don't do that. She's I have beeswax that dries faster. Oh, what does beeswax do? Do you put that like in the oil paint? I've heard that you can put wax in paint. I've never tried any of that. It has beeswax and dries faster. Interesting. I've never tried that before. I'm trying to think of the name that I've heard that called before. There's like another name for like the wax kind of like painting. But I think they use oil paints in it. Makes sense. The only medium I use is like Gamblin has like the solvent-free gel, and then I also use linseed oil. Keep it simple. Comes with the wax in it. Very pigmented. Okay, maybe I'll look into that brand too. I've never heard of that brand. It's oil paint. Okay, interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that paint here. But I feel like we don't have certain brands on the island that I love to try. The ones I really want to try are the ones with like walnut oil in them. And what is the company's? Blue Ridge Oils makes them with walnut oil. And there's one other that I can't remember the name of right now. But I've heard that walnut oil is really cool to work with as well. Okay, I think that'll just be good. We'll use that. I've just been mixing it because I'm thinking of things and getting distracted. It originated in Holland in 18. Okay. I'm gonna look into that because I love learning about different types of paints and what all of the old masters used to use. That is really cool. I think we have enough paint mixed up there, right? I think we're pretty good with that. So we can like start to kind of get everything ready over here. I will switch the scenes we will go to the painting scene here. Just gonna open my linseed oil too. I'm just cleaning this. It's only sold at Jerry's now. I don't think we have a Jerry's. The one local place that I go to is called Opus Art Supplies, but I think that's just like a local BC thing. Might just be even a Canada thing. I don't know if they have stores anywhere else in the world. I wonder actually. They're pretty much just like a fancy art supply store. They carry a lot of different brands from all over the world. And Amazon, okay. Well, maybe I will check it out and maybe they ship to where I am. The one thing that I've been wanting to invest in is some Rosemary & Co. brushes. That's like on my list of things. But in the future I will. Okay. Just making sure that this is all lined up for you guys. I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna grab my linseed oil out, put that here for cleaning my brushes. Okay, that out. And then we will also, oh yeah, I have to move the camera. Like remembering what all the things that I gotta do. Oh. Okay, hopefully I didn't mess that up. Hello, husband. You what? Oh, okay. Okay, there we go. You guys can see over in that area now. Okay, you can see while I'm painting now. Okay, just gonna finish setting this up a bit so I can record. There we go. My goodness, it's already 10:50. We were dilly-dallying with paint mixing today. Just enjoying the process. I think that's like the hard thing with like live streaming sometimes. Like I definitely like am kind of just like all over the place normally with painting, but I gotta be like a little bit more strict with the live streams so they don't take more than 3 hours. Because like sometimes these mini paintings take me like a lot of hours. So I feel like the live streams actually keep me on track with painting these minis a lot quicker because I'm like focused on like getting it done before time runs out. It's like a way to like get myself to like paint a little bit faster and stay focused. It's good for me. It's like a good challenge. Though I definitely still get distracted quite a bit. Okay, I think the camera's lined up pretty good. I think we will start by painting like the brown part of the brownie. Like that makes sense, right? Okay, I'm gonna start my camera and we will start by dabbing off some of my sketch that I made. I just made like really basic little sketch. I was actually lazy last night and didn't want to sketch this, so I just I put like I put it up on my screen and I like traced around the edges. It's like the easiest way to get a sketch done if you're like, yeah, I'm not feeling it today. You just gotta put it up to your computer screen and get like the basic lines down because you do most of it when you're painting anyway. You just need to get like the basic composition on the paper. It looks pretty good. I'm gonna like erase most of it now anyway. go. Okay. Looks pretty good. And we will start out with the brown color. Oh, I need to add a little bit more light to this. Hope that's okay. Trying to make sure I have enough light. It's actually really dark outside right now, so I had to get like my other light over there and like try to position it so it's like bright enough in the studio so you guys can see. So I've got like all the lights on in here and it still feels dark. We'll make do. Okay, we will start out, I think, with just the regular burnt sienna. We'll go with this. I was gonna just start out with like burnt sienna, but maybe I'll start out with the darker color actually. I try to start out with like the darker colors if I can. We'll go with this one that we mixed, this darker kind of burnt sienna with blue in it. And we'll see how we like that. Start by kind of like adding it to this area and just kind of like getting the base shapes down. Just gonna get those base shapes in there. Add a little bit of burnt sienna in there as well. I'm working on a 16 by 20. Oh, that's cute. I haven't actually painted animals in a while. I was telling my husband that the other day. I'm like, we should do paintings of our cats or our dog or something again. It's been a while since I've done animals. That'd be a fun one to do for the mini paint challenge at some point. Do like a cat one, a cat portrait. Last animal I painted was actually for my friend's cat that passed away. I did like a little one for her. I guess I could show you guys. I have it over here. It's like still drying. I haven't gave it to her yet. I made this one for her of her little cat, Ernie. He's so cute. Tried to make it like nice and colorful and cute. I like making pet portraits like extra colorful. Aw, yeah, it's always nice to do like a painting for people that have lost their pets. Like I always just find like it's such a nice little gesture you can do for your friends or your family. It's so hard to lose a pet. I've lost a few pets in my life and it never gets easier. They're just like such a big part of the family. Love our pets. It's hard to like lose your pet around Christmas too. Just trying to get these in here. We're getting like the darkest base layers down right now, and we're going to go back in and add those highlights on top that you kind of see in the chocolatey bits. You don't want to add those highlights yet. You want to start out with those darker colors and slowly add it, especially if you're using oil paints. Oh, that's so hard. I'm sorry to hear that your son died. We lost our daughter a few years ago, and it's a hard time. So I know what you're going through. There's nothing quite like losing a kid, right? Still find it hard to talk about sometimes. Yeah. It's one of those losses that you don't forget about, right? Not that any loss, all other losses you don't forget about either, but it's especially hard. I remember one of our therapists saying, when you lose a child, it's like, you know, like you're losing like the future that you planned on having, and with you know, like if like a family member dies, it's like, you know, you're losing kind of like the past, but it's different when you're like losing the future like you're planning on having with a child, right? You don't assume that your children will die before you, right? Just adding kind of like those lighter colors up near the top now. Slowly working into like some of the lighter colors. I'm gonna probably go back into some of those darker colors too, into the middle parts of the brownie. I'm also trying not to cover up where I'm gonna put the stars, because I want the stars to be like still like brightly saturated and colored. So I'm trying to keep those a little bit bright there. Almost kind of get like all your tiniest brushes that you can and adding all of the like details. It's like one brush stroke covers such a big area. Yeah, I think I might add the stars honestly before I get the rest of this brown going. And I'll work around the stars that I make, because I really just don't want the star colors to get muddy. I'm gonna grab, I think I will use, maybe I'll use my 10/0 like Princeton liner brush for them. Oh no, that's my face cam. Why is my face cam not working? Maybe that'll work. I'll reset it. There we go. Okay, there we go. I think I got it back now. Hopefully you guys can see me. It shows that the camera is connected again. I don't know what happened there. It said on there that it was connected. I'm back. Okay, we will start with, I want to start with the blue stars. Let's do the blue ones. Yeah. Okay, so we'll do the darkest parts in those blue stars. Now we just got to decide where we want to put all of the little stars. I was just most excited to do the stars. That's why we're going to do the stars now. I feel like the stars are even kind of like really tiny. I could have used like my even smaller liner brush. Maybe for the next stars we'll do the smaller ones. So we're just adding the darkest parts on the stars right now. So I'm just like outlining the darkest areas here as best as I can. Yeah, I should grab my like even smaller liner brush to really get those in there. Okay, switching brushes. Get the really small one. I'm gonna go to this blue color. And I'm gonna start adding that on. Don't worry about adding too much detail into the stars. Like, we're only gonna really be able to get so much detail in these like super tiny stars, especially if you're painting on like something as small as this. And we'll fix up the edges of these as we're adding the brown around them. Okay. I was like, what is that sound? Our cat is, she's like kneading the blanket, doing her little, she's making biscuits. She's so cute. I love when cats do that. I'm gonna clean that off a bit. Grab this lighter color. I'm going to do a few blue stars. Just trying to get that in there. You can always adjust the colors a little bit later on these, but getting like the base of where the stars are going to be is good. And then I've got a few more blue stars over here. I honestly might not add all of the stars, but I want a good variety, you know? I made these stars over here a little dark, but that's okay. Let's have some like darker purpley blue stars. So I'm doing the stars before the brownie because I feel like the colors are going to get really muddy if I do the brownie too close to the stars. I don't want the stars to get super muddy, and I don't exactly know where I want the stars yet. So I'm trying to find out where I want to place them right now. So I figured it would be best to just do that now, and then I can mess around with other colors later with the background. Sometimes you want to switch it up and get those nice and saturated colors in there and just kind of work around it. At least that's my thought process anyway, because I know that if I put brown around it and then I'm like, oh no, I wanted to add a star there, then you just can't, because it's going to get so muddy. Okay. I'm adding green stars in now. Also, if you don't like any of the colored stars, you can just take them out if you don't like a certain color. There's definitely some colors I do not like, and I avoid using those colors in all of my paintings. I refuse to use the color mint. I really just don't like the minty color. That really light greenish blue. Or is that just a me thing? Do I just not like that color? Okay, green. Get kind of this lighter green going on in there. There we go, we've got the base of these colors going on. We'll use the lightest part of the green now. Very tiny. We got it. They're starting to come along there. Okay, and then we've got what other ones? We'll do the yellow stars next, I guess. There is a yellow star over here. Kind of just using the brightest yellow, and I'll decide if I need to add any of the other yellows to it Add some of that lighter yellow there. Adding kind of the darker parts to the yellow stars now, that like orangish color we mixed up. Just very little amounts of that. And now we'll do the orange stars. There's an orange star here. There's also an orange star over here. Move the orange star a little bit over on this side. I will put an orange star over here for sure. We're gonna also add this one in. So pretty, thank you. The stars are slowly coming along. You're a good painter, thank you. Do you paint yourself? Started oil painting like a few years ago now, and I just love it so much. I mean, I've been painting a lot of my life, but I picked up this oil painting a few years ago. It's been fun to learn how to use oil paints. The colors are so fun to play with. And I think we will add, I also got the purple stars. I will add the purple stars in next. Such a pretty purple. There's a purple star there, and then we'll also add, another purple star here. I'll add one more purple star. Actually, I think I want to add, so there's kind of like a pinkish star up there, but I'm going to make it purple. We've also got a star here. Just adding the lighter purple onto it now, and then we'll slowly work on getting this super light. There we go. And then we'll touch up the stars kind of after we add all of the stuff around it. I'm going to add those white stars in before we start. And then we can, just cleaning my brush so we don't get any of the other colors on those white stars. There we go. Like how easy it is to clean off these tiny brushes. Doesn't take too much oil to clean them off between the colors. And we will grab the white paint here. It's like a bluish white paint that we mixed up. I missed this blue star over here. So a white one, and then so got this white star here. We'll add this white star. Gotta add that other blue star, I forgot. Slightly darker blue on this side. Okay, we've got all the stars there. I'm gonna grab my brush again. I'm gonna grab some of that burnt sienna. I feel like my camera keeps moving. Hopefully it stops moving now. Okay, we're gonna put this burnt sienna in. We're gonna also kind of add little bits of the darker color on our brush here and there. Burnt sienna with the darker kind of bluish tints in it. I'm gonna make this area pretty dark because there's some shadows in this area. And I'm just gonna slowly start to add those darker kind of deep shadow areas now. And then after we get kind of these base kind of colors on, what I'm gonna do is we'll take the finer line brushes and we'll go in and like make some of these a little bit more pronounced. These darker areas have like different shades of colors in them. It's also hard to kind of do stuff around the stars here. A fine line brush. Okay, we're gonna get some burnt sienna. I would say we might want to clean off this 10/0 brush. And this is the brush we'll use to get around the stars and stuff. Still gonna keep this one. Blotting a little bit of this color into there. I want to get more pigment on here before I get into those fine liner brushes. Slowly getting into like these brighter colors. Don't worry about the highlights, like I said yet. We're gonna add those kind of on top at the end. It'll be kind of like the last thing we do. Right now I'm just adding all the different tones of colors in here. It's a really nice brownie color though. I feel like we picked a good color for the brownie. Oh. Definitely got a hair on that. I dropped it. Okay. Slowly adding these lighter colors in. This is kind of like we call this the messy middle stage, where it's looking a little off right now. But we'll get all the highlights in there and it'll look a lot better. You know, even after painting and doing this for so long, it's like this messy middle stage. You're like, I hope it turns out at the end. It's kind of almost like a surprise, you know? I've grown to actually enjoy this part of painting where it's like, it looks really messy right now, but it'll get there. Especially getting different browns on there already. Yeah, just like slowly adding like different browns, really dabbing the colors in. We're just getting a base layer on, and I'm gonna add more of those like little colors with my fine liner brush now. I'm using the 10/0 liner brush from the Princeton Velvet Touch series. I find their brushes really nice to work with. I'm going to go in with a darker color first with my fine liner, and I'm going to go around the stars with the darker one. Because there's almost kind of like shadows on the brownies, right where the stars are connecting. We're just going to go around all these little stars. That darker color, and I'll start to make them pop slowly as we add those darker colors in. It'll also make the stars start to take like more of a shape, because right now they're not really shaped a lot, but we'll get there. I'm just going to have my other liner brush to come back in with any other colors that I need to. At this point, there's just going to be a lot of me making silly concentrated faces. Trying to get around these stars. I actually need to watch one of these streams back at some point and see all the silly faces I make. They would make great thumbnails. You just start getting pictures of me in action making silly faces. And I mean, the stars are starting to get there, right? It's getting there. Okay, we'll get those darker parts on this star. And tummy is growling. I actually ate some leftover sushi for breakfast today. My tummy is probably like, I want more sushi. Okay, adding some of the burnt sienna in there too to tone certain sections of it down. Because you really only, so the shadows are kind of like on this side and the highlights are coming in from here, so we're just trying to keep the shadows kind of on the other side. Kind of wonder sometimes if you guys can hear me like my stomach growling. Got some like ASMR stomach growly noises over there. Does anyone else like to watch those like ASMR artists? I actually really enjoy it sometimes. It's like so relaxing. I don't know if you've seen some of them on like TikTok. Not like the ones that like make gross like eating noises and stuff, but actually quite enjoy the ones that do it for like relaxation and make like rain sounds and stuff. They're really cool. At one point I had thought about making like an ASMR type thing. It'd be cool to learn how to do like my own ASMR. I could make it like art focused. Do like a live stream where I do like a little like ASMR at night or something with like art supplies. Make it sound cool with like art supplies. Has nothing to do with my channel though, unless I tried to make it like somehow art related ASMR. Okay. Just adding a bit more shape to this star here. Kind of covered it up a little much. Okay. And I have to try to brush that small. Yeah, it's I realize that this is like a very like tedious, like detailed thing, so I kind of have to use a small brush for this whole section, which is fine. I like using the smaller brushes. Just have to use the smaller ones when you get into these like little sections. Also looks really long, like the bristles. Yeah, these ones are pretty long. You can kind of like use it to make longer lines and stuff, but I find they're also the best for getting those like really tight details in. And they're going around the stars pretty nicely, so I would say it's working. I don't think I've ever painted stars this small before, so happy it's working out and they're kind of looking like stars. I should have had a pink star in here too. Make like a little Patrick Starfish. SpongeBob. Next time, next time. Honestly, the stars are turning out better than I thought they would. I'm really, really trying to make them look nice, even though they're really tiny. Keep getting messages on my phone saying we have a dentist appointment. Not yet. They send us reminders so soon. Every time they send us reminders, I'm like, oh my gosh, is that like tomorrow or something? And it's like, oh yeah, your appointment in 2 weeks. I just have really far out reminders for the dentist office. I actually really like this brownie color we chose. Sienna never disappoints. I feel like we made some really nice transition colors. There we go, and then we can touch up around all of these stars afterwards. Slowly add all of the different colors now. I'm going to clean that off because I've got kind of the darker color on it. I'm going to add the lighter parts to the brownie now. Slowly get the lighter parts in there. I think I might actually use one of these smaller ones just so I can blend them out a little bit. Just blending out some of these colors around the stars just so they're less prominent. And then I'm going to go in with the lighter colors afterwards. Good, blending these colors out a bit. Okay. Now we're going to add some of these light ones. Go with this really light color I made as well. I'm going to take that and we're going to slowly start adding more of the highlighted sections onto the brownie. This is like this is the part where we add a bit of depth to the brownie. So definitely keep some of those darker parts. I love like the crackly skin on the brownie. I feel like it's like the best part of a brownie too. So you get kind of that crackly skin on the top. Just accentuating these edges here. There we go, we're starting to get some more texture in the brownie there. And now I'm gonna add, so this is the part where we're gonna add this kind of like darker purple color that we mixed up there. And that's gonna give us like the darkest areas of all of the like little cracks in the brownies. And so I'm just cleaning this off and grab this nice purple color. Now we're gonna slowly add the cracks in the brownie. And this is really gonna add a lot of depth to these different areas. And they don't have to be exactly how you see them in the photo, but just do it in like the dark areas that you've made. And this is where we're adding in all the detail now. Gonna add a crack right here. We're going to add these darker parts into kind of the shadow areas now. We're still going to go into this deeper part of the brownie with highlights after. I'm definitely going to add kind of this darker bit around the edge. making sure I get all of those darker areas in there. I love this crackly bit on the brownie. I think that like really brings it together. Okay. And we've got there we go. I think I like that. We can add some more details into the stars too. A bit more of that darker color. This area. I think we've got quite a good amount of these crackly bits in the brownie now. Okay. And then we are also going to add some more details in the stars. So I'm going to start with the blue stars. Just adding a lighter color to the stars. We'll get in those green stars. 12 o'clock here already. I think we're actually doing pretty good for time. And just really trying to add those highlights now into the stars. Adding that lightest color that we made for each of the stars. Just on the top to like really shape it a little bit more. And do the orange one next. It's 2 o'clock there. A few hours ahead then. Good for time. It's already 12. I know, right? I can't believe that I've been painting for 2 hours. I feel like these sessions always go so fast because I'm just enjoying myself. I feel like time just flies like when you're painting. Sometimes forget what time. That's why I have like all these little reminders set on my watch so that I'm like, oh yeah, okay. It's 12 o'clock. Have an hour left. Or else I would completely forget what time it is. Okay, we're doing the orange one next. I'm just grabbing some of this like yellowish orange that we mixed. Really trying to add a bit more detail into the stars. Almost trying to make like the stars like a little bit thicker. And then kind of thinking I'll wait to add the highlights until we've got the background done. Just because I feel like it's fun to add the highlights at the end and it like really brings everything together at the end. Okay, those stars are looking okay. Get some more of this yellow on my brush so I can add the brightest part to these yellow stars. Fix the shape of a few of the yellow stars. Just trying to put as thick of paint as I can on some of these stars. I'm trying not to mix the brown into it. I was trying to avoid that. Okay. I think we managed to avoid to get too much brown into that, which is ideal. Okay, gotta do that purple color now. Just cleaning this off. Then we'll come back and add more highlights to that area. I think we're pretty good with that for now. Not bad, not bad. Okay, so background color. We are going to go with the shadow first. So I'm just gonna reposition this. I really need to get a new mount for my phone because it slides around. It's not very great. I have to keep shifting it back. Okay, I'm using a number 6 brush for the background. We're going to start with the shadow color that we made here. This nice blue color. And we're going to start over on this edge. I'm going to try to just get the base colors down, and then what we'll do is we'll go back in like we normally do and smooth it out. Just get those base colors in, get the shape of everything you kind of want, and then we can go back in and play with it a little bit. Okay, I'm going to clean that off a bit and get that next color down. It's like a greenish blue. Really trying to clean this off because we don't want the shadow color getting into the background. I want the blue to be nice and bright in the background. So this is going to go around the shadow area. It's a nice bright saturated color here. Okay, trying to resist blending it out in that area. Come back in with that color after. And so now I'm going to take this second color down here. And this is going to be kind of that deeper color we use around everything. And then we're going to like add some clouds in there. So I'm going to add those whites in. Definitely more whites along this side and kind of this deeper color along this side. Very loose brush strokes here for this. This doesn't need to be anything perfect. We're just having fun and playing with this color now, and then we'll add the whites in. I'm just adding little gaps for the white. I'm going to bring it close up here, right against the brownie. We're going to kind of shape that out. You don't have to add a background if you don't want to either. I've said that for a lot of my paintings. You could just add the shadow and stop at the shadow part. But I just feel like the background adds such a nice contrast. I'm going to leave a little bit of an area around here because I'm going to add a bit of a dark shadow there. gonna go with this slightly lighter blue over here. Slowly start to lighten it as it gets over to this corner. Trying to get along the edge here. Okay, now I'm gonna clean off the brush a little bit, and we're gonna start to add the white in. This whitish blue that we made. I'm gonna just kind of dab the color on. Take a bit more of that blue off. Flip this over so we have a fresh rag to wipe our brush on. And we will put more of this white in there. Just dabbing that on. I'm going to blend it out a little bit, and then I'm going to add some more details as well. I'm gonna grab my blender brush now. So I've got, just gonna grab my cloth here, and I've got a dry brush here. Move up my sleeves. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dab this on and take my rag, and I'm just gonna dab off the excess paint. And we'll go back in and add details into the clouds a little bit. But I just want them like to be pretty subtle in the background. We're just dabbing like the edges between the white that we put on and the blue. It'll kind of create like a fluffy cloud. I'm just dabbing it in between. And for that darker part, I'm actually gonna take my little like smaller brush. I'm gonna dip it in some of the dark paint. I'm gonna do the edge here, just to add a little bit of that darker tone along the edge. I'm gonna dab that off. I'm going to use this to blend along this darker color here. Make sure you wipe it off so you got like a dry brush. I don't want this shadow blended too much, but just enough that it like fades into it a bit. Kind of like how in the reference photo there's almost like a part where the brownie kind of like sticks out here, and then there's like a little shadow there. So I'm just taking this, adding that dark shadow in there. And I'm going to go back in with this lighter blue, kind of around the edges, just to clean up the shadow a little bit. Just coming in with the darker blue again in these areas, just to add a little bit more depth. Like we need to bring some of that darker blue back into it. Just gonna put this down, put my blender brush down, and I'm just gonna clean off the blue. Like I said, I'm gonna bring some of that darker blue back into it. Just with my number 6 brush again. And then we'll go back in and we'll actually make the clouds a little bit more prominent around the blue there. And a little bit more blue over here too. I'm going to go back in with that white color too to add a bit more of that cloudiness. Add some like almost kind of like wispy clouds with that whitish blue that we made. Just with the edge of the brush a bit. Make that cloud texture. I think this is my favorite part of like plein air painting too, is like all of the cloud textures. I always love painting like a bright sunny day. Bright sunny day with little fluffy clouds. Most of my plein air painting tends to be in the summertime because I just love the clouds. Anytime I go like camping and stuff, I'll bring my little travel easel. I'd like to do a bit more plein air painting again this summer. Wish I could live stream from like nature. It might be a little hard to do it, but I maybe could make it work with my cell phone, right? My dad is a little iffy around here though, sometimes. Anytime I go to like the beaches around here, it's always trying to connect to like the US networks for like roaming and stuff. Because we live like right near like the US border here on the island. I feel like it picks up the US cell towers where we are. So the signal's not great right near the water. And that's where I always want to paint, is always around the water area. And I'm using a very like kind of light brush stroke to get these clouds. Just kind of making them wispy. So glad I kind of like did this like cloud texture. I wasn't sure how the cloud texture was going to turn out when I started doing it on like, because I drew like the cloud texture with my tablet on Photoshop. I wasn't sure how the cloud texture would turn out, but I actually really like it. It makes like the brownie look super magical. Like it's floating on a bed of clouds or something. I'm just adding like slightly brighter white as I get more like detail in the clouds, and that'll really like accentuate certain parts of the clouds. You slowly just want to add more and more of that whitish blue color. Depending on how like wispy you want the clouds, I guess. And that looking not bad, not bad. Okay, and then we'll have to add all of the highlights in the brownie, which is like such a fun part. I love this part. I will grab my finest brush that I have, and we will add some of the nice bright highlights in the brownie now. We're going to actually use kind of that bluish white color as well that we made. Just really trying to clean this brush out so that we don't get any of the other colors of paint in it. We're going to add the highlights and see if there's anything else we want to touch up after we get that going. Okay, so we'll add up some more titanium white as well, because I think I made it a little too blue there. Kind of mix it. The white is going to be really sticky and hard to spread, so we're actually going to add a little bit of linseed oil in there. That'll just make it a little thinner for us to spread around, which should be good. Okay. So we will get the brightest highlights first. So I'm gonna kind of where we have all of these like lighter parts on the edges of the brownie. That's where we're going to start to add little highlights. I'm going to add little highlights in this area. Okay. Also add I'm trying to add some like really bright highlights, but I'm also trying to add some more toned down ones. So when my brush runs out of the like really bright highlights, I'm just adding the more kind of toned down highlights as well. So you get kind of a mix of a bunch of different like highlights along the brownie, because there's like quite a few different colors that we've got going on in those highlights. We want to be a little bit sparing when it comes to like the brightest highlights, but there's like a lot of shine in this one, so and think that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna actually clean this off. I'm gonna add a slightly darker blue to a few of the stars that I've got. Just feel like it needs this darker blue in there. Along the edges. Go. It's a little bit brighter in certain areas. Really trying to add a little bit more depth to the stars. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Just trying to like highlight some of these stars a little bit more. Just gonna add a little bit of that darker color around the stars, especially in the shadowy parts. Honestly, I'm like pretty happy with this. I think they look pretty good. Just adding these little details now, which I think will make the stars pop a little bit more. There's some stars that feel like could pop just a little bit more. I love how painterly this one is. Just like so much texture in the paint strokes of this one. Been doing that more with my paintings lately, adding kind of more of those painterly brush strokes instead of blending everything out, and I kind of really like that. Looking good, thank you. I'm sad that we ate all of the brownies already, so now I can't even like eat a brownie after this. They're making me hungry and want brownies. I think you made a carrot cake that was painterly too. Yeah, I did. Forgot about that one. I made like that painterly carrot cake. I really liked that one. It was like the icing was like super painterly too. That was fun. I feel like that one was even more painterly than this. But painterly nonetheless. I feel like we should like stop soon. Or maybe add a little bit more orange into that area. I feel like I should accentuate the orange stars a little bit more with that darker orange. And just clean off my brush though, so I get this color in the orange. Such a pretty orange. I like this orange. Not bad. Okay. I'm actually really happy with that. I like how that turned out. One last little brush stroke to finish it off. Okay, let me stand back now. And try not to trip on all my cords. Yeah, I like how that turned out. I really like the cloud background. I think that's like my favorite part of this painting is the cloudiness of the background. Oh, I was so excited to do the cloud background. Okay, I like that. I think we can call it quits there, and we are like 20 minutes ahead of schedule. Not bad with all those little stars. I'm like, I could add more detail to the stars, but I'm gonna call it quits with the stars because I think I like it. And I can always add more detail later if I end up wanting to. But I like how that turned out there. I look forward to seeing everyone else's interpretation of this. Such a cute reference photo. I'm gonna have to do like a cloudy background for other ones like this. Okay. I think we're good there. I think we'll call it quits for the day. I will put my little thank you scene on. I'll post a reel for you guys up on all of the platforms. I've been trying to like cross post on like all the different platforms for you guys so you can see the finished product. I'll put a picture of the final one in the community tab on my YouTube channel too, so you can see it, because I know that I still haven't figured out how to get the colors like looking exactly right on the stream, but I will always post a photo afterwards so then you guys can see it and compare it. And if you tried it out today, make sure you tag me at Megan Josol Art on social media and use the hashtag mini paint challenge, so then everyone else can see your art too and we can all follow each other on social media. And thanks for hanging out with me today. That was a fun session, and next week, I actually have another collab with an artist, and I'll announce who the artist is closer on the weekend. I'll start announcing that, but I'm so excited. She provided like such a beautiful reference photo. We're gonna do a naturey themed one next week, so watch out for that. And yeah, thanks for hanging out today, and I will see you next week. So have a good day, everyone.